not an era of music more nostalgic for me than the early 2000s. Pop punk and alternative rock was all over the radio, emo fashion was a total vibe, and there was no shortage of hooky drop D guitar riffs. I was 13 years old in 2005, and I'm not sure there was a better time in music to be a teenager than during the reign of Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, the All-American Rejects, Jimmy Eat World, Switchfoot, Relient K, and so many more. And certainly, while every guitarist goes through an 80s rock phase or a classic rock phase, the era that inspired me to play then and still inspires me now is the early 2000s, and that's where this JM Pop Punk preset comes from. I wanted to capture the sounds of a guitar through a big amp that makes you want to just throw your guitar in drop D and play some power chords. While this Quad Cortex rig was inspired by the sounds of the early 2000s, I actually think it's more versatile than that. I went ahead and did a capture of an edge of breakup amp setting and then a more distorted amp setting. You can actually click through those in stomp mode, sort of like you're changing channels with an A/B switcher. Big distorted guitar sounds are definitely the bread and butter of this preset. I decided to include one of my go-to delays and a couple different reverbs so you can push the guitar tone into that ambient territory. Or you could get some pretty rich distorted tones with tons of delay and reverb. There's also a couple different modulation stages, so we've got a chorus for those Bang Camino-esque moments. And a hard cut trem for those techno breakdowns. Like all of my Quad Cortex presets, you can get creative with different combinations of effects blocks and automating different parameters. Of all the presets I've made in the Quad Cortex, this one actually has the most effects blocks programmed into it, so there's a ton of different tones to paint with. Now, you may be asking yourself, why did you put so many different effects in here if it's a pop punk rig? Like, pop punk guitar tone is pretty simple. And, well, am I not allowed to just have fun? No, I think it really just boils down to I like having versatility in my rigs, so I wanted to put a couple different textures that I've heard on various pop punk records or in alternative rock recordings, just in case they were to come up. Obviously, this preset is a solid option for anything rock and roll, but I wouldn't only limit it to like 2000s guitar playing. If you're a guitarist and you play pop gigs, then you know this sort of big rock guitar sound is a very trendy sound live, and I feel like this preset does that particular thing really well. As you've heard throughout the video, this preset sounds good with a variety of guitars, pickup types. It really just boils down to how you program it. And I think if you mess with it enough, you could even get a pretty good worship guitar tone out of here. In case you haven't heard enough of the jam pop punk preset, here's another example of how it might sound in context. Want to grab a copy of the JM Pop Punk preset, the link is in the description. There's also bundled editions available in case you want to grab a couple of different presets at a discounted rate. Huge thank you to everyone who grabs a copy. It's a big support to the channel. Be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Share it with a fellow Quad Cortex user, and I'll catch you next time.